What's up,
Vibers? This is so awkward.
Hey, look, we on Zoom right now, so it's a little awkward.
We in the building. We in the building, Vibers. There we go.
In the building. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special video because as of this coming out, we have officially hit, or we're about to hit, within like 50 or so subscribers, 100,000 of y'all Vibers up in the Vibe channel. So from the bottom of our hearts and the top of our brains, we want to thank you here today. So thank you so much. Guys, y'all got anything to say about the 100K?
Hey man, it's awesome, man. I'm speechless. We started this a couple years ago, and it's great to be here. And we got some special guests too.
We absolutely do. Aaron, do you want to introduce our guest real quick?
So of course we got the man Lynell Jinks in the building. Y'all are familiar with Jinks. He's been working on these games for so long. And we got Christina. Y'all already know, man. We are excited to bring you guys this.
We were able, because of everyone that supports the channel, we were able to fly out to California to play WWE 2K22. It was just us three and the developers that you see here today in a room, all COVID tested up. It was a wonderful time, wonderful bonding experience, and we got to play the game for a couple of hours. You can hear all of our individual thoughts on our time with the game on our solo channels at Simply Better AM, at BDE, at Phoenix Nitro. But today, as a group here collectively on Vibe, we are about to get into some questions, and I guess I'll start us off since I'm talking right now. Christina, this question actually goes to you. One of my favorite things when I played the game was the presentation. From the camera work to the entrances, and most of all, the fact that for the first time in a wrestling game, in my opinion at least, the championships look the best that they ever have before. Can you go into a little detail about what went into making the game visually be the best in franchise history?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so first off, thank you for having us. But also, we have a super dope art team and a super dope development team that's just out there, passionate, nerdy individuals putting in the work to make sure they're delivering these top-notch visuals. So big shout out to them because they put in so much hard work into this. So a lot of what you see, yes, absolutely one, the championship belt or the championships are the best looking that you have ever seen. Also, we, on the character side, and Lynell can absolutely speak more to this, we've rescanned almost every single superstar to make them look as close to their likenesses as possible. So every single part of the game there was touched. There's a ton of improved hair as well, as you can all attest to. Yeah, I'm getting some nods here. Also on the presentation and cinematography side, there are new entrance cameras. So when you're going through the game, it feels like you are at a WWE event. Like this truly, first off, our camera guys are awesome at what they do, but this truly also pays nod to the WWE broadcasting team too, because they're finally getting their shout out with all that hard work that they're putting in over there. But there's new entrance cameras, improved facial animation, superstar performances too, the new gameplay cameras and everything with the wider angle lenses. We've overhauled the lighting engine. There's an all new VFX engine too. And on the environment side, there are different new playable arenas and virtual crowd boards. So on that side, there a lot of work went into that, but leading up to it, so much of that went into how identifying those visual targets and how things were also planned. Because once you're in production, you are going. So much of that goes into the pre-production side, and it speaks to what the teams wanted to include in this cycle of WWE 2K, but also them putting in the work once we hit production to hit those marks. Well, I know I definitely want you to add to this because you have different perspective as well.
Yeah, so Dalton, first I'm gonna start with answering your question, and I'll dive deep into the details like Christina did. But I think one of the first things I set out to do was like I just went through like a ton of footage and tried to find like a new look for like entrances and cutscenes, and I was just like for some reason I was just I was called to like this new the cameras where you're right up on someone and you're following someone and you see that how big that event actually is, because you guys have all been to WWE events and even had time to like get on a stage or look from that perspective, and you don't really understand like how intimidating that is, right? And so like for me, I wanted our team to try to replicate that look. And so we did a bunch of tests early on, and in the room you guys were actually playing in when you guys came out to test the game. Like we were doing a ton of reviews there before COVID hit, and we nailed that look, and we finally hit it with our animators, and we're like, all right, we want every single entrance in our cutscenes to have that feeling, like where you get that perspective, and you feel like you have a front row seat, and certain camera angles right there at ringside. So a ton of work went into that. But as far as like our confidence in being able to present the game in that way, like what Christina talked about, it went into like everything we put into our superstars and our lighting, right? Like rescanning everyone that we could possibly get, and touching every single superstar, from the legends who are no longer with us, to like people we just don't have access to, or they aged quite a bit. Like we went and retouched everyone, right? And so like Christina talked about with our cloth sim, our hair sim, lighting, everything had to get redone, right, in order for us to feel confident about showing these our superstars that close on screen, to where you can point out the poor details, the sweat, all of it, right? It's right there in your face, and we're not scared to show it all.
That was like honestly the first thing that I noticed when I jumped into a game was entrances, and like I think the guys can attest to this too. We are quite honestly entrance skippers. We never really look at entrances when we're doing content, but I could not skip any entrance that I watched, because I saw Dakota Kai, who was obviously in 2K20, so I mean it's not like a surprise or anything like that, but her entrance was crazy in the sense of like the camera movement and panning and all. I was like visually stunned by how good this game looks, because I'll be honest, it kind of is a catchphrase of marketing every year of like, hey, graphics are better this year. I was surprised. I was genuinely baffled by how good everything looked.
And I mean,
it's crazy how like what Christina talked about, like that process. Like, so just because I like showed the team like what my vision was, it was up to like our lead animators, along with our my art director Jeff Horn, like sitting down and making sure that every single entrance had that touch, right? So you're just like, it's a group effort with all this stuff. And so like when I saw you popping when you saw Dakota Kai's entrance, when it got low to her and when she pointed, you were like, oh, and I was just like, we're doing it, Joe, we're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Even you brought up the championships so much,
Yep.
and in us taking all your kind words and appreciation back to our team, they were so jazzed to hear what you had to say. Like especially the folks that worked on the championships, like they are over the moon about hearing this, because it's basically the first time folks are starting to see it, starting with y'all. So we're so hyped, guys. We are so hyped.
Yeah, we are so hyped after playing it too.
Yeah, visually, I think it's the best a wrestling game has looked, period.
Same.
And that's no gas.
Would you say, Aaron, would you say it hits different? I'm just asking.
I mean, I've heard it a lot. So, hey, and I've got to feel the game. It does hit different.
So Jinx, you saw it. I was playing MyRISE, and I was enjoying what I was playing. I didn't get too much time with it. I didn't want to spoil it for myself. But one thing I was curious about, how many hours is MyRISE this year? Because I think 2K20 was about roughly 25 hours. So yeah, how long is MyRISE this year?
So again, roughly, I'm going to talk roughly, right? Like, like it's hard to like give you like a hard estimate, because we know some people are just going to run through everything and not read everything. Like maybe Dalton, who doesn't want to read stuff, but like, like, I'm just saying.
Don't play a tutorial one time.
So, like, but when we ask QA or our team to go through it, like, we found like this average, runtime for, and keep this in mind, there's 2 separate stories for male and female this year. So each one is around that 20, like I would say like 24, 25 hour mark. So total around 50 hours.
Ooh, okay. I like that answer. I like that one.
I love the fact that you basically just said too that there's 2 individual storylines, correct? The male and female.
Oh yeah, yeah. No.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like that
No
a
more
lot.
Red and Trey. No more. Thank God.
We're giving women their due in WWE
Awesome.
2K22. They deserve their own run,
Absolutely.
and it is all prevalent through WWE 2K22's MyRISE.
Absolutely.
great to
Hey,
hear.
I look forward to playing the women's story. I think the guys can attest. I am such a huge fan of women's wrestling. I mean, y'all saw it when I was there. I was looking at a lot of the women's entrances and playing with a lot of the women in the game. I'm very jazzed up and stoked to play with Haiti Hendricks and go up in that MyRISE real quick. You know what I'm saying? Aaron, do you want to drop the next question?
Yeah. So I wanna ask you guys about this. Right. What was your biggest obstacle in making WWE 2K22?
Making WWE 2K22. No. Honestly, like, you know, the thing that, every year, you know, when working on this game, there's so many things that we want to try. And we just, it was so risky that you knew that, you know, the game could basically, you know, stop functioning if you touched it, and that's gameplay, right? Like there's so many things that we've tried, and games have evolved so much from, you know, I would say the heyday of like what people, you know, consider like the old wrestling games of, you know, like my favorite wrestling game. It's like games have evolved so much since then that when we want to try to like breathe some of these new ideas and new designs into gameplay, we were always shied away from it, right? Because it's so risky, right? Because I would say like, you know, most people think of like, you know, a wrestling game is like, oh, it's just a fighting game. You're like, no, it's not. Like it's a fighting game, but then you tack on the fact that you have, you know, the ability to climb up on the top rope or climb a ladder or bring in tables or go outside the ring and go backstage, and like there's all these things, and then times 7 more people in the ring with you, right? So it's just like, it's that complex that you want to just do one thing, you have to times it by all the match types, by every different scenario, and all these different, you know, things that could interact with you, right? And so it's always challenging when we talk about any design changes. And so we had the confidence to do it on WWE 2K22, where we're like, this is it. You know, we're tired of people saying like, this is just a stale update, or they just changed the controls, or they just did this. And like you guys can attest to it, like we had to pull out all stops and change the way we approach this completely. And so it's a new fighting engine. It was the first time we can really say that with confidence. It's a brand new fighting engine, and you can feel it from the moment you pick up the controls. I know, Aaron, you were playing the first time user experience and going through the tutorial, and you're like, oh man, like, you know, like it is different. Yeah. And like, to me, like that, like when you're seeing that and you figure out like, oh, like the combos and combo breakers and how you get to grapples and how, you know, like understanding the new meter and just understanding the new approach that we're asking users to go on this new journey with us, and you guys were able to pick it up and figure it out, like was just awesome. And then to actually see it, you know, taking everything you guys learned in your individual experiences in that triple threat that you guys play, like, and just seeing it all out there, like that was honestly like it was a moment that Christina and I were talking about, like we've been looking forward to all development cycle, because we're just like, yeah, it's just us playing it, but to see like you guys play it, like that was awesome. Like we're like, oh man, it's happening. You guys are having so much fun, and you're like, that confidence was backed up by your guys' reaction, right? So we're just like, oh man, it was worth it. It was worth all these, the like with the development cycle, like all these, you know, I would say uncertainties that you might have through production. You're like, oh, I don't know if people are gonna like this, and then we're just seeing your guys' reaction to it. That to me was like, that was it. We were like, yep, we did it. It was great.
And I will definitely
recommend. A lot of fun too.
It was absolutely. I will definitely recommend to everybody too. And I know Jinx about to get a kick out of this. Please play the tutorial.
we were being way too stubborn. We're like, no, we vets. We don't need it.
Yeah.
I played it. I needed that
Aaron
tutorial.
was the only one that went in. Aaron was like, immediately we're like, yeah, we're gonna start y'all off with a tutorial. Aaron was the only one that did it.
But Brandon went to it after he lost in the triple threat, so he was like, maybe
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna need that.
Well, I'm huge on gameplay, so like, with seeing that there was a tutorial for like how new the gameplay is, I figured why not do it and get a feel for it. And I think if people pick up the game, and they just be a little patient with it, because there's a slight learning curve to the game. I believe that's how I felt. they're gonna like it. I really believe that. So, and yeah, the gameplay is amazing. I love what you guys did with the targeting indicator for multi-person matches. That looks so clean, so clean. It's so much better than having like a name above
The confusing name
the
thing,
wrestlers. Yeah.
That didn't confuse anybody.
All of us said too after the fact when we got back to the hotel, when we went to In-N-Out, we said it multiple times after playing. It felt great to have actually fun on a wrestling game again. Like we finally had fun playing a wrestling game again, which I haven't felt that since back on the SVR days in terms of just genuine fun. Like I love making content, don't get it twisted, but having fun playing the game casually hasn't been a thing for me in a long time, and getting that joy was so fun.
And now we have other things like cross-platform, so it's just like, going between, Xbox and PS4, we want to make sure that we are creating, a stable community as well.
Real quick, because you just said it, I'm definitely going to back it up real quick. Can you just run that back one time? Make sure the earwax is out of my ears so I heard it clearly. Cross-platform.
Dropping bombs over here.
Cross-platform
community creations, yo. What's up? Yeah. No, so like, your creations, if you make them on PS4 or on Xbox or PS5 and Xbox, Series X, you will be able to download cross-platform. So I know that is a feature that the community has been asking for so long, and I'm proud to announce it. Yeah, like that's happened. I'm surprised we didn't tell you guys that when we met with you.
Hey, I'm not. Hey, listen. I went and I was nosy and I peeked around in community creation, so I saw it. But I can't just say it. I gotta let the big guy say it.
Okay, my bad.
I don't want to steal your thunder.
Brandon, do you have anything?
Oh yes. So a lot of fans are on the fence about whether or not they should purchase WWE 2K22 this year. What has the team learned after WWE 2K20, and why should fans purchase this year's game?
I think a lot of that definitely comes down to all the things we've talked about pretty much right now. Like the entire experience is different. Like starting on the visual side, again, with the different, like we went through and rescanned all the superstars, overhauled lighting, can go on and on. Those dope championships y'all keep raving about, like I'm gonna say it hits different.
It does.
I can repeat everything I said earlier, or I can say that it truly hits different. And beyond the visual side, like the gameplay engine's been redesigned from the ground up, and y'all can attest to that. I'm not going to say it again. I'm going to let Lynell say it this time.
I mean, it's our tagline for a reason. That was our philosophy, and it does, like, our thing. It has to hit different in order for you guys to have faith in us once again, right? And to me, it had to hit different. It had to have everything that we felt like a WWE game at this level, and it needs, right? So like we have something for everyone, right? With the overall and the overhaul in gameplay, to MyRISE with separate female male storylines, to MyGM, right, for the people who like the franchise type modes. Universe is back with the superstar mode, which Brandon, I know you were popping on, and my faction, right, and showcases back as well, which there's some cool surprises there. So like I feel like there's something for everyone, and to me that in itself, right, when you look at like everything that we've crammed into this year's title, like there's just so much content, and there's so much for you guys to experience, and to me, like that's what we set out to make, and I look at it and to watch you guys play it and have that, like what you guys said, fun playing it, not just like, yeah, I guess I can make some content with this one. Yeah, like no, like I can't wait. I remember one of the things that stuck with me afterwards, where you guys were saying like, man, we're gonna have a great year making content, fellas, and I was just like, yes, like like
hey, I wanted to keep playing the game.
No,
bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're looking for, right? Like that's to me as a developer, or anyone who has a job and wants some kind of recognition, right? Where you're like you put something in someone's hands and they want to, like, you want to feel like that joy that you're expecting to be reciprocated, and we got that with you guys playing it. We just want to share that with the rest of the our fan base.
Yeah. And to echo your sentiment too, Lynell, a lot of it is like you and I have had conversations about this where it's the theme of this cycle specifically. One is it fun? Like, is it the player experience going to be fun? But also, is it accessible for new players as well? And for the like, and what is the competition like for vets? So when y'all play it, it's super hyper competitive. But if someone just picks it up to play for the first time, we want them to have that experience too. So it, in my opinion, it definitely touches on all of those areas for the player experience and just looking at the work we've accomplished for this cycle, like, hell yeah, it definitely hits different. So
yeah, I would say that's one of like, you know, it's obviously, you know, like working remotely and trying to develop a game during, you know, a pandemic is challenging. But one of the benefits that did come out of it, honestly, was handing the controller over to like our loved ones, or, you know, just like, you know, my kids or Christina, like your friend, and be like, hey, test this out, and getting that, you know, like that, you know, non-expert feedback early on, right? We're like, oh, shoot, like someone said this is too hard or this is too easy or whatever. And so like we're iterating at a much faster pace because of it. It was one of the things that we just didn't expect to happen that kind of helped us out.
Got you. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
that all sounds great, man. That all sounds
Absolutely.
great. But I guess we got to wrap it up. You know, I guess we got to wrap it up. So, do you guys have anything you want to say, like the final words?
Nah, honestly, like I want to thank you guys, because like, you know, making games it's definitely it's challenging at times, right? And it tests your nerves, right? And seeing your reaction to everything we worked on and what the team has worked on and all our hard work, it didn't go in vain. And so like, thank you for you know, providing that for us. Like we shared, you know, that feedback with the team, and like that, it put a smile on our faces, right? Like it just, at a time where we all need it, right? Where we're just trying to like make sure that we put a bow on this and make it as good as we can. It's going to help us cross that finish line a little faster and stronger.
Yeah, we've been in the weeds for so long. So seeing y'all and seeing that raw reaction was just so, it was so satisfying to see so much joy on your faces as you were playing this and falling out of your chairs almost at one point. That was just like
getting proposed to. You know, I'm not saying which one proposed to. I'm just saying.
Hey, bro, I'm just saying, I'm not going to tell y'all what I saw to propose to Jinx, but when I saw it, I almost dropped to a knee right then and there and put out the ring pop. But guys, we appreciate it so much. Lynell, Christina, I know we told y'all at the event itself, we are so thankful that you guys brought us out, and we are very, very grateful that you guys brought us out. But none of this would be possible, once again, without you guys, the Vibers that are watching right now. And we tell you every single video, ride the vibe and subscribe, and 100,000 of y'all have done that. So thank you all so much. Lynell, thank you so much. Christina, thank you so much. What a 100K special, if you do ask me. But this is the end, my friends. And until then, ride the vibe and subscribe. We out.